there, I'm Melissa Batt, the host of Priorities on Purpose, a podcast for overwhelmed direct sellers who want to grow their income, audience, and influence without sacrificing their mental health and main priorities. Whether you're just starting a new adventure or you're 15 years in and have already climbed the ranks, I want to help you have the life and the business of your dreams. Can you see it? Can you feel it? Or maybe you thought you had it and something changed. Whether you have your entire dream mapped out or have completely given up on all the possibilities, I'm here to remind you that God is bigger than the little box we put him in. This side gig is part of his plan. It's not your sole purpose, but it absolutely has purpose. As a Christian life and business coach, I'm here to help you get out of your head and live with intention so you can enjoy what matters most without the guilt. More time to do what you love, more peace, more impact, more money, and opportunities to give to those you want to help. I promise to be your hype girl, business bestie, and biggest cheerleader as I share proven and simple strategies that will be sure to help you live a fulfilled life with a strong, sustainable business. Are you ready to stop chasing all the shiny things and get laser focused? Put your earbuds in while you're cooking dinner or folding that laundry, and let's get to it, friend. This is one time when multitasking is actually going to be beneficial. Hey, friends. Welcome to the very first official episode of Priorities on Purpose. I'm Melissa Batt, a Christian life and business coach, and you've already heard the whole spiel in the intro. So I'm just going to get into this and tell you why I created this podcast, why I love what I'm doing, and just a few other tidbits that you may want to know. So number one, I am a mama of four. My youngest is 11. She's the only girl. And then I have three boys. One is 14, one is 19, and one is 21. You ever hear that? It's like, did you start over? Yes, I did. I didn't plan it, but God is good. And he did it anyway. And it was such a gift. And I've learned so much from my kids. I married my high school sweetheart. I was 19 when we got married. He was 21. Had my first baby when I was 21. And I love it. I've been through some things. And I think it's important for you to know, like, I was a stay-at-home mom. Like, that was something that was so important to me growing up. I never actually saw myself being a mom, period. But once I found my husband and knew we were getting married and we talked about like what the future would look like, I had made it very, very clear from the very beginning that I was going to stay home with our kids, right? And so some people would be like, oh, you knew you'd always want to be a mom and all this. No. I wanted to stay home with my kids because I did not want them to grow up the way I grew up. That's the truth. Like, I never saw myself as a mom. I don't think I'm necessarily the best at it. Some people will be like, you are a good mom. You're an amazing mom, blah, blah, blah. But it's not something that comes easy. It takes a lot of work. Through my journey, though, like the reason I wanted to stay home, and I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but I grew up with like a whole lot of babysitters. My mom and dad were divorced. My mom worked all the time, and I had a whole lot of babysitters, and those babysitters let me do a lot of things I should not have done, like smoking cigarettes, smoking pot, drinking alcohol. And that was just in 5th grade. So great childhood. Can you tell already? So anyways, long story short, I wanted to stay home because I didn't want my kids to be raised with people that raised me as a babysitter because, you know, I obviously didn't want my 5th grader getting high when they were, you know, all of that. So I just feel like you should probably know that about me because I feel like so many times we hear all about these women who stay at home as like, I just couldn't wait to be a mom. That's not my story. And if it is your story, I love that for you. But if it's not, I want you to know I get it. And there's hope for you. And there's hope for me because I feel like while I'm not like the best, I feel like I've done a good job. I've raised good kids and God has taught me a lot through being a mom. Should probably know that I started out in direct sales. And even before I signed up to do like direct sales and all of that stuff, like I was the one who I've always believed in it. I would try to talk my friends into doing it. Like I would go to, you know, back in the day, a Pampered chef party or a Mary Kay party or a a home and garden party. So we say home interior party. And I would be trying to convince my friends, like, you should totally do this. Like, I got it even back then. And while I didn't sign up, I did try to convince my friends to do it because I just believed in it. I knew it was possible and I knew it was a great way to make extra income and it was a way to get out of the house and all that stuff. So my first experience was actually I signed up to do the home and garden party. And if you've never heard of home and garden party, you might be like, no, you mean home interior? No, I mean home and garden party. That was what it was called. Then it turned to celebrating home or celebrate home. And I did really well. I didn't really have the community and I didn't have a vision or what I wanted to do with it. And so I did it until I didn't, and it was fine. Fast forward a few years and I found out I was pregnant with baby number 3. And at that time, like I always thought I would go back to school. I'm a college dropout and I hit pause on college after I'd gotten married and got pregnant with my first baby. I knew that like I wanted to stay at home. So I hit pause on that and knew that when my kids went back to school, then I would go back to school to do the thing that I felt God was calling me to do. And at that time, I really just loved counseling. I always worked like youth ministry for a long time. I thought maybe I'd be a psychologist or a guidance counselor. I just love helping women, teens, girls. I just have a heart for that. And so I thought I would go back to school and then surprise, I got pregnant with baby number 3. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go back to school yet because now I'm going to wait for this one to get into school. And during that time, we ended up moving from Indiana to South Carolina, and I knew I needed to get out of the house. And so I signed up to do 31 gifts. And I really just wanted to get out of the house. I had no intention on really doing much with the business. I just knew I needed to get out of the house because I'm a homebody, I'm an introvert, and I would never leave the house unless I had a reason to. And so I needed to make sure I got out of my comfort zone and that would push me to do it. And so I signed up. I went to somehow like, I don't even know. And I think it was just a total God thing because again, I didn't have any intention on really doing a lot with the business. But shortly after I started, my husband lost his job. Actually, guys, I got mad. Because we had moved clear across country, left our family and everything. We moved in May and he lost his job in September. And I'm like, what's going on? We knew that we were supposed to go to South Carolina. So I was like, this isn't going to be a vacation. We're not going to turn around and go home back to Indiana. And so he found another job and we stayed in South Carolina. But I got mad and realized that I didn't want to continue living like that. As a stay-at-home mom, not providing any income, it was my husband's sole responsibility. Like it was all on him. And I realized for the first time the amount of pressure that was on him to provide. We had been married, since we were young, and there were quite a few job losses there. And I couldn't imagine the pressure that he was under. So at that point, I was starting to hear stories on, this person's making $10,000 a month. This person's making $25,000 a month, and all the stories about what direct sales had done for them. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And so I decided right then and there that I wanted to make as much money as my husband. So the next time something happened with his job, we would have an opportunity to choose. We've since moved to Kentucky. So even with the direct sales business, we still chose to move. But I just wanted the freedom to choose instead of having the decision made for me because there were no other choices. And so I set a goal to do that and I did it. And it was good. I learned that I didn't have to put my life on hold. I remember that very first conference and seeing all the people and hearing all the stories. And I saw people just like me who was successful. And it was like this moment where God was like, you don't have to put your life on hold. You can do both. You can be a mom and raise your kids and be successful in making an impact. And the impact has always been where my passion is. So fast forward a whole lot of years, and you've heard the trailer. I'm sure you listened to the intro at least once. After that, you probably skipped ahead. But I'm now a Christian life and business coach, and I had no idea this is where I would be, but it's such a gift. I remember in 2018, I did this vision exercise, and the question was, if you could do anything, and money was not a question, you didn't have to be worried about money, what would you do? And hands down, without even thinking about it, I knew the answer was, I want to coach women. All day, every day. Like I want to coach women and help women do the things that God has called them to do. And how cool is it that it is now 2022 and I'm doing it and it is my job. That's what I get paid for. Like God is so good. God is so good, y'all. And has it been easy? No. There's been a lot of roller coaster moments of ups and downs. And I never thought I would leave direct sales. Honestly, I was one of those who was like, going to be doing it till the day I die, but never say never. Because while I said I would never quit, one day God was like, we're done with this. And now you're going to go full on into coaching. And it was one of the things in 2020. I left direct sales in November 2020. It's one of those things. And if you heard this through the pandemic, it's like, I didn't know that was coming. Yeah, I didn't know it was coming. I had no idea, but boom, it was done. And at the same time, it was so cool to look back and see how God was preparing for that moment. We had downsized in 2020. We moved from South Carolina to Kentucky and had this fancy house and a fancy neighborhood, and it was amazing. And I thought it was my dream house. And then things happened that I'll talk about in another episode when it doesn't increase my blood pressure and have me so stressed out. But things happened in that neighborhood that then made me realize, like, I got to get out of there. I thought it was my dream and it was not. It was my nightmare. And so we found a house that I would have never even wanted to look at. Like, it literally on paper is going backwards. Like, it's way less of a house. Like, the cost of the house, just for, just to kind of give you an idea. And this is the coolest part. We didn't plan it, but it actually, our house payment became what it was before I started 31. And so how cool is it that even when I had no idea God was going to be like, all right, time's up. We're done with this. We're moving on to this. God was preparing me the entire time, so much so that we no longer needed my income to provide and pay the bills, because I was the one that paid our house payment, which was the beauty, Like, here I started this and was like, this is just fun money. And then I was able to provide for a family, pay our house payment, pay for my kids to go to private school. I bought my husband a 1969 Camaro that was like his dream car, literally his dream car. It belonged to his dad, then his brother, and his brother sold it. And I was able to give him the money, write a check, and get that for him. So cool to be able to do all that, to then being like, you know what? I'm done. I'm hanging up that hat. And so again, it looked like it was going backwards, and technically it was. But when we saw this house for the first time, the word that came to my mind over and over and over was freedom. It was freedom. I still call this the Freedom House because I don't have neighbors, or close neighbors, I should say. And I have so much peace in this house, and the pressure is gone. I didn't even know the pressure existed, but once the pressure was removed and I could breathe again, I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. And then we moved in probably June of 2020. In November, God said, you're good. Let's go. We're done with this. And so while I'm no longer in direct sales, I'm super, super passionate about helping others that are in that journey to just learn from the things that I did wrong and do it better, and help you not get caught up in the hustle mode. You're going to hear me talk a lot about priorities on purpose. If we aren't careful, the world will keep us from remembering and having our priorities at the front of our mind. We will get so caught up in all the things that we neglect the things that mean the most to us. And I don't want that for you. So that's kind of where the name of it comes from, Priorities on Purpose. It's about being intentional. As someone who struggles with depression, anxiety, and ADHD, was diagnosed with that in 2019. No wonder I've never been able to focus. Easy to get distracted. And I want to help you live a life with intention so you can go to where God wants you to go and not grow complacent. I want to get you off that hamster wheel, friend, like the hamster wheel. You'll hear me talk about that a lot because so many times it's easy to get caught up on the hamster wheel, going on autopilot and doing the same thing over and over and over and never making any progress. If you're the same place you were 5 years from now, you have to ask yourself, why? And is that where you want to be? I believe that there's always room for growth and we are always to be learning and growing, and we're to thrive and truly live versus survive. And so many of us get caught up in the survival mode because life is hard. Life is so freaking hard sometimes. And so through this podcast, you're going to get encouragement. You're going to get a lot of pep talks. You're going to get some practical advice to help you just live with more intention. We will have some interviews. I obviously am going to be helping you as a direct seller. If you're a direct seller, I truly believe that entrepreneurship is the way to save the world. I saw the book that Michael Hyatt wrote, and I think it says entrepreneurs will save the world. And I'm like, I have to read that because I truly believe it. It is, we have the freedom. We can stand up and we don't have to be a slave to a company or our boss and all of that stuff. And so I truly believe that entrepreneurship is where it's at. And some people will say direct sales is entrepreneurship. And I'm not going to say it is or if it isn't, because I think it depends on your mindset as a direct seller on what you believe. Because some of them, you can be a direct seller and not an entrepreneur. But for those of you who are direct sellers and an entrepreneur, you can see it as a gateway to something bigger. It's a step. And I think it's Bob Heilig that says direct sales is like personal development with a paycheck. Amen. You get to learn and grow and build a community and network with people and grow your mindset and all of that and make money. Hey, now I'm here for that. And so I love direct sales, whether you're in it just because you need to make $200 a month to pay for, an addition to your house or for a vacation. Although if you're listening to this, I'm here praying that you can see this as an opportunity to go where God wants you to go. And using direct sales as the way to do it means that it's about so much more than just making a couple $100 or $1,000 a month. And the sky's the limit with the income, but it's about so much more than that. And so we're going to be talking about that a lot, of course. And some other things that you'll hear me talk about. We have the Real Talk Tribe community. It's before I even became a Christian life and business coach, I founded the Real Talk Tribe community. It was the first step in where I knew God was taking me, but I didn't know where. And I didn't know all the details, but I knew that I needed to start this group, and you'll hear more about the vision for the Real Talk Tribe community. But right now you should know that it's a free Facebook community where you as a woman can go and just be you. We don't just show up there to show up, but you can show up there as yourself, whether it's a good day or a hard day, or you're struggling or you're celebrating, it doesn't matter. And through that group, again, there's a whole lot more to it, but that's for a different episode. And so every month we have a challenge. And so you're going to hear about the challenges, and I want to invite you to participate in the challenges. We also have a lot of people come in and share their story. And so I'm excited for you to do that. As far as my business, again, I'm a Christian life and business coach. I have a one-on-one coaching available if that's something that you're interested in. I also have the Success Lounge. That's a membership for direct sellers who are just you need the master classes, you want someone to hold your hand, you'll hear more about that coming up, and you can always go to my website and check it out. And then we have the breakthrough challenge. That is something that we started about 9 months ago. And that is like just this baby step towards figuring out that you actually are capable of accomplishing more than you ever dreamed. And so you're going to hear more about the breakthrough challenge as well, the 12 weeks to success. And so those are some of the things that we have going on. You'll hear more about in the future, but I just want you to know that I am here for you. I'm so excited to be on this journey. And I have been praying about starting this podcast since 2018. And I'm excited that this day is finally here where we can launch this and grow together. So thank you for being here. Tell your friends. And buckle your seatbelt, friends, because we are going on a ride and it's going to be a journey. And I'm excited about where God is going to take us, you included. Hey, friends, that's it for this episode. If you found value, I would love it if you could take a couple of seconds and leave me a quick review. While it may seem super simple, it is so beneficial and gives me the opportunity to help more women. Also, take a screenshot and share it on social media with your biggest aha today. Don't forget to tag me at Melissa Bat Official so we can connect. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, friend, keep walking it out one baby step at a time because God's got you.